Upside Down Church. I'm Jacob, and today, this morning, whenever you're watching this, we're going to be talking about doom metal. First off, let me get this out of the way so I don't forget. Playing in the background, we've got Cedar. I'm not completely sure how to pronounce it. It's S-E-I-D-R for Winter Fire. This is a kind of atmospheric, post-metal-y doom band. This has Austin Lunn on here, and I believe Wesley Crow, W. Crow. I believe his name's Wesley, and I think he is from Blood of the Black Owl. So Austin from Panopticon and Mr. Crow from Blood of the Black Owl teamed up and did this album. They've got, I think, one more full length besides this. It's pretty good. This one is my preference. Put out by Flenser. Really good album. In fact, yeah. So what we're gonna be talking about is Desert Island doom albums. Last Friday night, Jeff over at Gasmasks and Hand Grenades hosted a panel of doom aficionados. Had Greg Chandler from Esoteric, Liam the Death Doom Metalhead, Rock and Metal Plus, Johnny Mac, and then Rick from the Dreadful Minutes. They all had a discussion about doom albums that they would take with them to a desert island if they were only allowed, like 10. Of course, they all pulled honorable mentions as well, and figured I'll do a response to that video, show my desert island doom albums. Of course, pulled some honorable mentions. Would probably consider this an honorable mention. Great album. Yeah, let's get right into it. I will start with, I think I got like 8, besides that one, 8 more honorable mentions. I'll just blast through them. First up, Evoken. Really close to making the list, and really you can pick any of their albums. I pulled out the debut, Embrace the Emptiness. Every album is rock solid. Funeral Doom. Guys are from New Jersey. Again, you can't go wrong with a single Evoken album. And then next up, this is an honorable mention. They talked a lot about Candlemass in the stream. I'm not a big, just traditional doom fan to begin with. Like I've yet to really dive into that, but this was a project, I believe it was started by Leaf from Candlemass, with some friends, and then he has a female vocalist join him, and yeah, this one just hits the spot as far as, I'm not into a ton of that traditional style, but with the female vocals on here, they're just beautiful vocals, just a great album. They've since turned more into kind of this, they've gone more in a rock direction, and I don't think Leaf's with them anymore. Yeah, this one came out in 2013. It's a great album. These are all great albums, obviously. I wouldn't be talking about them to take to a desert island or as alternates if the fucking record shop I stopped at on my way to the desert island didn't have my choices in stock. This I guess would be the alternatives. I don't know. Fuck. Surprised this one didn't get mentioned last night until the honorable mentions. Chemists, one of the better, more modern Doom projects out there at this point, in my opinion. Especially this album, Hunted, great album. Their newest one is really, really good as well. It might rival this with a few more listens, but for now, my pick would be Hunted by Chemists. Album that came out the year after that from Arkansas-based pallbearer, Heartless. This was a band I was surprised didn't get mentioned at all last night. I know this one might not have been as well received by the more traditionalists as their first couple albums, but I think this is my personal favorite. Especially the first track, I Saw the End, and the final track, A Plea for Understanding. Those tracks just fucking hit. Let's see. Next honorable mention. This did get a passing mention last night, I believe. Shape of Despair, Monotony Fields. Classic. This is a funeral doom classic from these Finished Lads. I believe this was their fourth album, out in 2015. A lot of funeral doom to pick from. Ended up having to put 3 of them in my honorable mentions. The third one would be Mournful Congregation's The June Frost. Mournful Congregation, another band with just a rock solid catalog, but my personal favorite has to be The June Frost. Okay, and these last 2 honorable mentions, they're ones that kind of border on not quite fitting. Some people might not throw them into the doom category. They kind of blur the lines for me, so I figured I'd put them as honorable mentions. First one being Caustic by Primitive Man. This is just the most gnarliest, darkest, most disturbing sounding shit. I would describe it as doom mixed with black metal, mixed with noise, super sludgy, super just dark. Love Primitive Man. I would put it in the top, like my 10 picks, if it was quite all the way doom, if that makes sense. And this one, probably a little even further from your doom, but this is To the Night Unknown by Mourn. This is more just kind of straight up more post-metal, sludgy stuff. Just great stuff out of Massachusetts. Mourn. Check them out if you haven't, particularly this album, To the Night Unknown. Okay. That's the honorable mentions. First pick for my 10 has got to be anyways, Bell Witch, Mirror Reaper. Another funeral doom band, notably without any guitar work, just bass, drums, keyboards, that kind of stuff. Their third full length from 2017. Not worth mentioning, it was their first album without the original drummer, who passed away. I'm sure everybody knows everything about this album, but yeah, one single track, like 80 something minutes, if I remember right. yeah, killer emotive shit. Okay. Next one, we've got Clouds with Dolu. Yeah, it's a close call between this and Door by Clouds, but I don't own Door, so I defaulted, like, had to go with my 1A or 1B, whatever. They're pretty much tied as far as Clouds album. For me, this is the debut from Clouds. Clouds is an international project. Describe it as kind of like an atmospheric death doom, bordering on funeral doom at times. Super emotional shit, like most doom is. Yeah, bound to bring a tear to your eye if you really follow along with it. That one came out in 2014. That was their debut, if I didn't mention that. Okay, another debut from 2014. We've got Crossfault with Spectres of Revocable Loss. Another album with great artwork. Yeah, Crossfault is a German-based band. Play more in a more traditional style, but they've got a lot of melodic lines through their guitar work, a lot of melody bleeding through. Vocals remind me a lot of what's his name? Is it Patrick Walker from Warning? And in fact, there's a cover of Footprints as the closing track on this. Great stuff. If you haven't heard Crossfault, check this album out. Their newest album that came out either last year or the year before, phenomenal as well. Speaking of, I just mentioned Warning. Yeah, Liam pulled this one out last night, and great choice, Liam. Tried not to, at least, I know I'll repeat some bands, but I tried not to repeat albums you guys showed, but I can't help it with this one. This is an emotional masterpiece. If this album can't make you cry, you probably don't have a soul. This is just so crushing. Lyrics are just spot on. Like, you can't write sadder shit than this, in my opinion. Speaking of more sad stuff, actually I pulled both of these. Originally I was going to go for this one, Woods of Ypres, number 4, the Green Album. But the more I thought about it, the more just kind of overloaded this one is. There's a lot of just forgettable tracks on this. There's tons of great tracks, but it's got a lot of more just mess stuff compared to number 5, Woods 5, Gray Skies and Electric Light. The swan song for Mr. David Gold unfortunately passed away shortly after they recorded this. Passed away in a car accident. Yeah, their early stuff, more black metal, but this later stuff, doom, tinges of gothic to it, some definite typo influence on it. But yeah, this one, all the tracks on this one are great. That's why I ended up going with it, choosing this one instead of the Green Album. But Woods is another band where you can't go wrong with any of their material. Moving along, we're making good time with this one. Veronica Decides to Die by Saturnus. Third full length by Saturnus. This one came out in 2006. If I owned it, I would have went with the first album, Paradise Belongs to You. I like that one just by a hair, edges this one out, but this one is, if you don't know Saturnus, they're melodic death doom, kind of one of the top tier bands, in my opinion, in that genre. And they need to repress more of their albums. This one just got a repress from Prophecy. They've actually got a new album coming out next month. Need to get that pre-ordered. Based on the preview tracks, it doesn't sound quite as good as this or Paradise, but we'll see. I think it'll still be a solid album. Hopefully it's better than I think from the previews. Okay. Next I'm gonna do, let's see, I got four albums left, I believe, here. Do hit up that Peaceville 3. My introduction to Paradise Lost was The Plague Within. This is about when I came into Death Doom, was right around the time this came out. Maybe the year after, 2 years after, around 2016, 2017. That's when I started getting into more the more extreme metal. Discovered more Death Doom type stuff, and this was one of the first Death Doom albums I heard. Fell in love with it right away. Apparently this is a bit of a comeback for them. I've not quite made it through their entire catalog. I've listened to pieces. I know 1 Second was not really, it's more of a goth album than a doom album. I still like that album. I've heard a few of their first ones and things sprinkled between. But yeah, I guess this one was considered a bit of a return to the death, the more heavy stuff for them. But yeah, this one's killer. Tracks like No Hope in Sight, Eternity of Lies, Beneath Broken Earth, Victim of the Past, Return to the Sun, killer. And this one's got a bonus track of Victims of the Past, and orchestral version, pretty killer track. Sticking with classics of the Death Doom genre, called New Moon by Swallow the Sun. It was between this one. This is like 1A to 1B. 1B would be The Morning Never Came. Rick showed that one last night, so I'll show this one. The first half of this album, hell, even this whole album, but particularly the first half, is like 10 out of 10 stuff. These Woods Breathe Evil, Falling World, Sleepless Swans. Title track's great as well. Yeah. Swallow the Sun, New Moon. You gotta have it if you're a Doom fan. A Death Doom fan in particular. Swallow the Sun was probably the first Death Doom band I saw live. I saw them on tour with Dark Tranquility. Killer show. Alright. Save probably the best two for last. My two favorites for last, I guess. I don't want to say they're the best. Other people will disagree. It's all subjective. These are, favorite is a better term than best. My two favorites for last. Altars of Grief. What is it? Iris. This is their. They had one album before this and a split they did. And then they are kind of on an indefinite hiatus after this one. Unfortunately, because this thing is a masterpiece. I think this was my album of the year in 2018. They described themselves as Prairie Doom. I would describe it as blackened funeral doom. Yeah, these guys they're from Saskatchewan. I guess they live in the prairies of Canada. Prairie Doom. I don't know. To me, it's just blackened funeral doom. Killer stuff. And then anybody that watched the deep dive we did on this band over on Gasmasks and Hand Grenades with Jeff should not be surprised. Dance of December Souls by Catatonia. I've gotta have this one. Favorite Catatonia release. Easily, this thing is a 10 out of 10 album. If I'm on a desert island, I have to have Without God with me. That track. Masterpiece. But yeah. Wanted to just share my Desert Island Doom albums with you guys. I thought it was a cool video. So I figured I would jump on it, do a little response. Anyways, go over there, check out that stream if you missed it. They shared tons of good doom metal. They're all much more knowledgeable on the genre than me. I'm relatively new to doom. They're all have a greater appreciation for the roots of doom than I do. But yeah, go check that out. And thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.